Welcome to True Value, the most trusted destination for pre-owned cars, where we value our customers at every step, giving them an excellent buying experience. We don't just sell cars to our customers, but also help them in beginning a new journey. A journey that begins with their initiation into the world of Maruti Suzuki. As the leader, our expertise and efficiency are not just mere words, but it reflects in everything we do. In our constant endeavor to meet our customers' expectations and win their trust, we consistently deliver the best of services and experiences. At True Value, we believe in creating excellent customer experiences and in turn living up to the benchmark set by Maruti Suzuki.
Hi, good morning. Welcome back. Have you seen this brand before? This sub-brand, so to say? You can put your answers in the chat box. So today we're going to wrap up the portion of brand management and with a few look of the examples illustrating the overall process. Yeah. So what is this brand all about? So Ashil Thomas has mentioned in the chat box, yes. So what is this True Value all about? How is it different from the main brand? Or what is the proposition of this particular True Value? And see, observe how the brand is also designed, the name, the way it is written, the logo, the the font, the purpose, how it is being communicated with different marketing communication. So what is this? How is this different from the main brand of Maruti and the cars? Can you tell? Can you put your answers in the chat box? The second thing is, do you see a difference in the marketing communication done by Maruti Suzuki for their other cars vis-a-vis what they are promoting through this particular brand or sub-brand? So how is it different? How are these different? So let me just share the site of Maruti once again here. And 1 minute, let me just go back. So here it is, the main site of True Value. And it is, if you go to the bottom of the screen, you will see that there are many such events and many such ways that they are talking about this brand. This brand also is talking about something to do with buying cars which are pre-owned, which means what does it mean? And if you look at the various ways that the website has been designed to communicate with customers, there are opinions from experts. So when auto experts are giving their opinion, what kind of association is this? Is it a primary association? Is it a secondary association? Learning to identify. So auto experts are saying something about the vehicles. So what is it that the auto experts are talking about? And why would something like this be given out in a website where the primary marketer is the car manufacturer and seller? Is there something to do with, is that something to do with secondary brand association? Taking the input of third-party sources and giving their experts. Do you think auto experts' views would matter to customers in addition to whatever the company themselves are going to talk about? So how is it going to help? So like we said, for example, any movies get released, the first thing that people tend to see would be typically the experts reviews or film critics reviews. Of course, when there are fans of particular heroes or heroines or people who follow certain directors, then of course their first day first show is a must, irrespective of how the movie turns out to be, because these are particularly very, very big followers of those actors or actresses or directors and whose movies a certain set of people really want to see at the first show the moment it is released. But for a majority of others, People want to see the opinions of maybe fellow cinema goers and see their views. They would like to see how much of rating are people giving, so that to ensure that it is a value for money, and the time that they're going to spend in that movie is worthwhile, and they don't want to go and see a movie which perhaps is not worth the time and effort. So film critics reviews, people who have gone and watched the reviews, their views also matter. So those are also part of the secondary brand association, because you are leveraging third party sources. Now auto experts, when you're talking about, is auto expert also a secondary source? You are saying yes. So what kind of a secondary brand association is this, when you're saying that there is an auto expert who's giving you certain inputs? So how else can you do leveraging secondary brand association? It could be co-branding, it could be information from the company, it could be about ingredient branding, it could be about one aspect, which is third-party sources, from awards to views of people to telling about how this brand has got recognized from elsewhere, right? So that is why it is important. And if you see the overall the marketing efforts of this brand, let me just share the screen once again. You will see that there are many brands also under a main corporate brand. So when we talk about that, for example, this Maruti True Value is a brand in the main company, which is all about selling new brands as well as pre-owned brands. New brands would mean those brands which are manufactured newly by the manufacturer, and they are sold from their dealer outlets. And you can of course have pre-owned cars. So when you understand the consumer buying process, so automobile manufacturers have understood that people may have already got cars which they would like to exchange or sell before they get their new car, so in case it is a replacement vehicle. So in that case, what happens is Maruti Suzuki kind of companies, they have got dedicated set of subsidiaries, which they actually ensure that it does the work dedicatedly for the customer need. For example, if you see the website, and here if I just enhance the website a little, the resolution, I think you can look at the subsidiary brands here under the main brand of the company. So what is it that we see here? We see that there is Maruti Suzuki Driving School, Smart Finance, Maruti Suzuki Insurance Broking, Maruti Suzuki Rewards, and more of these things are there. And Maruti Suzuki Genuine Accessories. But if you see here, the main brand Maruti Suzuki is a prefix to the other kind of words that are used to identify the offering. So if it is a driving school, but it is prefixed with Maruti Suzuki, so that would be a kind of a corporate branding that is being done here. Now, if you see the other aspect of this particular company, you see that there are various things about the sales itself. Maruti Suzuki Arena, Nexa, True Value, and Commercial. So relating to sales, these are the aspects. Maruti Suzuki Arena, which dedicates itself to those models. And if you click this, what it takes you to, like for example, when you click True Value, it takes you into a different website with a different navigation stuff. Here you see that there is a certain kind of a picture or graphic given. Now, is there secondary brand association here? Somebody is advertising this Maruti Suzuki Arena. Maruti Suzuki has put out this picture of somebody. Is this somebody known? Is this using Maruti Suzuki? Is this using any kind of secondary brand association? Look at the other aspect here. They're talking about the arena and about the different kinds of offerings. So my question to you, all of you, would be, if you see this, tell me whether there's any secondary brand association.
Is that just a brand new showroom? Well, look again. I see a smile and a helping hand. Friendship shall begin as soon as you walk in. Tech that lets you play. and a little bit of that. Well, decisions are made just like that. Coffee's freshly getting brewed. So conversations can set the mood. After all the how and the why, it's not just a car that you buy. It's a journey tailor-made for you. And a feeling that's so new. So welcome to a destination called you. And a feeling called Maruti Suzuki Arena.
So who's that? And what is it basically talking about? Which is the celebrity? Anybody can identify this celebrity that was featured in this Maruti Suzuki Arena commercial? It was a TV commercial in 2018, and there were some aspects shown in that consumer decision-making journey pertaining to automobile purchase. And the celebrity concerned is Varun Dhawan. Anybody has seen his movies? Do you know this Bollywood celebrity? So for a national reach, this celebrity endorsement has been done by Maruti Suzuki for its Maruti Suzuki Arena communication. So what happens is, besides all the information that is given out in the website, the company has decided to also have the communication done with a celebrity, so that the reach of the celebrity is leveraged with the brand, or the reach of the brand gets leveraged with the celebrity's brand equity, and it makes a mutually beneficial association, more so from the point of view of Maruti Suzuki's national kind of corporate image that it has, or a corporate brand image that it has. So if you see here, Maruti Suzuki's people technology makes your car extremely fuel efficient, which means there are various aspects of the components also which are being shown across in order to convince people that how it is beneficial, what kind of fuel efficiency, safety features, any kind of benefits that they're talking about will be very much available with these vehicles. So in the scene of talking about automobiles, wherein people are buying this not only for transportation, but also for a lot of other socio-economic benefits, people look at, among many other things, they would look at safety features as well. So that's why a lot of the information that is provided in the website pertains to how these information can be communicated to the customer in the most effective way. So if you look at the definitions, or if you look at the elaborate marketing communication model, whether it is the IDA model or the Dagmar model, basically all these are being followed whenever any kind of communication is being kind of strategized for a company's brand to reach out to the market. All right. Now let us look at another one, which is the Nexa. And if you click here, you will see that the brand or the sub-brand of Nexa under Maruti Suzuki company talks about different kinds of offerings altogether. So here it is talking about, inspiring about a 1.5 million kind of people, and they're talking about vehicles here, and you can find a variety of vehicles with different models. So that is why the models and the specifications are given. There is a scope wherein you can configure the kind of model that you're expecting. The different models of vehicles available under Nexa, which is under Maruti Suzuki, is also given. So Ignis, Baleno, Ciaz, S-Cross, XLS 6, and you can have dedicated brochures dedicated to these kind of the offers. So what are the specific products and their specification? Now, why do you need to have all of these? Why are these separate? They are separate because the target segment is separate. The marketing will have to be done separately. So segmentation, targeting, and positioning gets applied everywhere, all across the companies that you are noticing in any kind of field, be it food and beverage or personal care, automobiles, electronic products, B2B, B2C. What we see is that segmentation, targeting, and positioning remains one of the key activities of the marketer, right? So identifying the different segments that are available in the market based on different characteristics, targeting a certain set of segments depending on what kind of products or services you have to offer to that market, and then positioning your offers. So here, if you see, there are multiple models under the company Maruti Suzuki, and they are clubbed under different headings. And these are the new cars that are up for sale. Whereas we saw in the case of True Value is a kind of a mechanism by which people can exchange their pre-owned cars and ensure that what happens is there can be also people who can come and buy the second-hand cars certified from Maruti True Value, such that, you know, in the second-hand market, it's pretty much unorganized, and there are various kinds of agents and dealers who are there. And many times customers feel that if they are not buying a new car, and if they have to go and buy a second-hand car, there are feelings of lack of reliability on the agent or the dealer from whom the car is going to be bought. Customers who are buying the second-hand cars feel that there is no transparency in many cases, and there are more cheats than you know, genuine sellers, and perhaps what they are buying, they will not be able to check the authenticity of the cars, you know, stated value or stated benefits. So they don't understand if their car has met with a crash, and would it have been, you know, resprayed, the color would have been resprayed. So they don't understand that. Would they be able to check thoroughly for the engine condition, what amount of you know, the wear and tear has happened. And people are more concerned about the reliability of the second-hand vehicles that they are buying. They would like to understand how much of value they're really getting for the money. So nothing like getting a certification done to the extent that genuinity is possible. And that is why Maruti True Value makes it a good offering for such customers. So it offers a venue for people who are coming to buy new cars from Maruti, but would like to sell their old cars, and by taking over these old cars and buying it from them, or taking it and refurbishing it well, they also make these pre-owned cars available for other sets of buyers who would like to buy. That is, people who are in the pre-owned market, who are typically looking only for second-hand cars. Now, of course, these cars, you know, deservedly hold a higher price than what you would find in the second-hand unorganized market. But then there are people who, or customers, the segments are that people who would like to pay a little bit of a premium, even in the second-hand market, to go and buy cars from Maruti True Value, rather than going and buying from an unknown agent or dealer who is selling second-hand vehicles. So therefore, now coming back to the point, therefore, this company has identified segments of pre-owned cars which are owned by customers, which need to be sold, and therefore Maruti True Value. And there is, of course, a market for new vehicles, that is customers who would be buying vehicles which have never been owned before, which are newly owned vehicles, which people are going to register in their names. The cars will be registered in the customer's name in the first time. Pre-owned cars basically would be those cars which already have been registered with a certain customer, and then they would be sold to another customer because the original customer or the first customer decides to sell off the vehicle. All right. So therefore, understanding all these consumer needs or preferences or the characteristics in the market, Maruti has got these kind of divisions which takes care of these kind of need satisfaction of the customer. So under Nexa cars, if you see, the models also are indicated. Now under Nexa cars, you have XL6, S-Cross, Ciaz, Baleno, Ignis, like I told you. And each of these models are illustrated for the customer's benefit, and they are providing adequate information in order for people to look at and understand or decipher what they actually need. And very, very colorful graphics and photographs are made out of these models in order to showcase these models to the best extent possible. Like, for example, what you see on this screen is the XL6, which has a certain slogan, feels right, feels just right, and it talks about the creation and the inspiration that goes behind it. The price ex-showroom, it is stated as 9,98,000 rupees. And if it is on an EMI, it comes up on the screen for customers to have an estimate, because you understand in the customer decision-making journey, the brand also has to fit in itself in the customer's decision-making journey. So what is the customer's decision-making journey all about? The 5 steps: the problem recognition, information search, evaluation of alternative, purchase, the process evaluation. Once you do the evaluation, you go to the purchase process and the post-purchase process, right? Now in the purchase process, in the evaluation stage, consideration set, you're going to consider a typical automobile buyer definitely is going to consider the overall cost and also the payment options. So if the payment option is not going to be cash down, it's going to be bought on credit. Something which really matters to the customer is the EMI, that is the equated monthly installments. So the estimated EMI is put out on the screen for people to have an estimate, and based on which they can again look at different loan offers. Please look at the right side of the screen. You do have an option where the customer can also check for loan offers, which means you are ensuring, this is a typical case of ensuring that you are actually taking care of all the requirements that a customer would need in the purchasing cycle, which means to buy the vehicle, it could be bought from different dealers, from different manufacturers. Here it is a newly owned model, therefore the car's own manufacturer is putting out the information, but they are understanding that customers can buy on cash and credit. So therefore, if it is a credit, they would have to provide them the options about loans, or else customers will independently look out for loan options as well. But what if you make such loan offers available at the point of purchase itself, at the point where the customers are searching for information about different brands, you make the loan offers also available. Now, how do you make these loan offers available? You will need to tie up with different kinds of financial institutions who have different kinds of auto loan facility available. So what you're basically doing is that you are ensuring that although you're not in the banking sector, you're not in the financial services sector, you're not in the auto loan products per se, your core product is not auto loans. Maruti Suzuki's product is not that, but it is ensuring that it is giving that kind of a benefit to customers in order to help them in the customer decision-making process. So when you understand the customer's decision-making process, the journey that the customer goes through, as a brand, you will try to ensure that you try to make this journey more easy and more meaningful in order to make sure that the brand is actually purchased by the customer at the with the least kind of a hassle. All right. And therefore, what is required is, of course, product features. Along with that, different kinds of comparisons with different products will be done. Information that is required, you collect information from the customer and then you can get back. So you can do customization as well. So information can be captured, customer insights can be elicited, and then you can customize the offer, which makes it just right for the customer. And of course, if you need certain information, you know that customers typically will have certain objections. So to do the objection handling, you can also look at building up FAQs, frequently asked questions, which means you try to understand, you would have already had an experience dealing with various types of customers across the years in their purchasing process. So what you typically would try to do is to capture some of the most commonly asked questions and provide the answers pertaining to that, so that you are almost making sure that the customer gets the information that is required. So what is the information state? They searching for information. So yes, the customer is looking for a vehicle. They might be looking at different manufacturers and different models. There is a stage in the customer decision making process which is called the customer decision search for information. Once the searching for information is happening through various sources, they would look at those information sources and would proceed to the next step, which is to evaluate the alternatives. So in order to be able to evaluate the alternatives, you do have different kinds of comparisons done, right? So be it any kind of products, people would look at trying to compare a certain offering with something else and decide what they want to purchase, because they definitely would like to purchase something which is going to give them the most value, and they would not like to take up a product or buy a product or patronize a service which is less than what they would have actually felt. So, and this is done also in order to ensure that post-purchase evaluation of the product or service is done in a favorable manner. Because what happens is, after the purchase is done, if the customer feels or finds out that there was a better alternative, then the perception or judgment or feeling about the current product purchase or the current service that is patronized can be evaluated in a negative manner. So the more information you provide the customer, it only helps you to gain the competitive edge, build sustainable brand marketing management activities, and ensure that the customer is empowered to take a decision which is in favor of making sure that they make a very, very wise decision, leading to no amount of unforeseen post-purchase negative evaluation. Is it clear? So this is the entire thing which has to be taken care by the brands themselves. And finally, what happens is, irrespective of the number of brands that you have in your company, you have to look at making sure that the brand marketing happens in a holistic way, right? So this is about Nexa, for example. Now, if we close Nexa, we come back to the main Maruti website, wherein we see that the different kind of information about the brand is available in this website. For different corporate stuff, the information is available on the website, which you can see here. For different sales and service, it is available inside. Any other information from the company is available, and important customer informations are all available here. So what happens is, corporate information about the brand Maruti Suzuki is available here. You can also see about different experiences, the technology involved in making the products, which is the component part of it, is also given here. Any information for the investors are given here. And of course, because it's a corporate website, so the corporate brand image is also about the different career option, as well as the contactability of the brands in terms of the offices or its representatives. Right now, if you come back here, you will see that under sales, you do have Maruti Suzuki Arena, which we saw in the case of being shown that how people can go to those outlets and, get the buying experience. And it was advertised by Varun Dhawan. You saw what are the offerings from Nexa. And then you have also seen Maruti Suzuki's True Value, offering, which is for the pre-owned cars. And last but not the least, if you see the Maruti Suzuki Commercial, these are the commercial aspects of the vehicles, and the range is given here, which is goods courier and passenger courier. So Super Carry, you can see the different brands and the attributes here. You can also see the WECO courier here, and you can explore all of these. Now, what do you get here? These are to do with the commercial aspect. The others were to do with the B2C, the retail aspects and the retail offering. Right? So what do you see at the end of the day? You see that there are dedicated websites under Maruti Suzuki, which talks about the different sub-brands, Maruti Suzuki Arena, Nexa, True Value, and Commercial. And what else do they have from the Maruti Suzuki place? They also have their driving school, smart finance, insurance broking, rewards that they are giving out, and genuine accessories. So accessories for their vehicles, which are brand marked with Maruti, and this is a practice which is there for even other automobile manufacturers as well. So using the genuine parts and accessories to ensure that the cars reliability is enhanced, or the functionality of the cars during the service and the repairs ensure that the car is actually going on with the required spare parts that is from the company. Genuine parts, Maruti Suzuki leasing, and institutional customers. Right now, when you see all of this, what really comes across is the fact that we have seen in the marketing effort, which means in the brand value chain of any marketing activity, there are various things that are actually required, which means during the brand building of a company, the efforts to build the product, the offering is all about the marketing program investment. So if I annotate this on the screen, what do you see here? Let me annotate this. The first stage, which you see here, is a marketing program investment. The arrow then leads on to the marketing efforts leading to or influencing customer mindset. Right? So what are the activities that the company is doing? All the things about the 4 Ps, you talk about product communication, the channel partners, the employees that are there who are part of the manufacturing maybe, or the creation of the product, and any other ancillary aspect. What are these required? Why are these promoted by the company? Because the company wants to influence customer mindset. What about the customer mindset? Awareness, association, attitudes, attachment, activity, right? Now, what makes a company do certain things better than others? So there are, of course, different companies, and that is why you will see that there are number 1, number 2, number 3 players in the automobile market. The same thing as the first, second, third players in the FMCG sector. And we say somebody is a market leader, somebody is second, somebody is third. We see the global rankings, and we say number 1 brand this year, say, is Apple, and the second brand is Google, and third is Amazon. And then some other years it was the other way. Google was the number 1 brand, second was say Samsung, and the third was Apple. Now, how does it happen that all the companies are trying to do their best? They're trying to use the same branding principles, but how come the customer mindset, what is being sold, how is someone being the industry leader or market leader, and someone doesn't become that? So what makes the difference is what you see at the bottom, which is the filter, which is the program multiplier, which means how much of clarity can you give your customers, how much of relevance can you make it for your customers about your products, how much distinctive and consistent is your marketing offer. Like, for example, what Nokia used to be, say 15, 20 years back, vis-a-vis the change that has occurred after Samsung, ensured that they brought out different kinds of models, did superlatively, comparatively better marketing, program execution in the market. So what happens is the influence on the customer mindset is going to be different based on how better a company can be clarifying about its offer in the market, how much of relevance it can build in about the offer, maybe the type of models, the different kinds of product variations, the different kinds of ways that the services can be extended. All of these, the distinctiveness, how you make your offer distinct in the market and how people understand that will influence customer mindset. And finally, when customer mindset is influenced, what does it translate into? Customers will be buying this maybe with the channel support. So you have the channel support, dealer support. That's what you saw, for example, in Maruti. We saw the case of the Maruti, channels being advertised where people can come and buy. Varun Dhawan is utilized, and they're talking about which customers can come and buy. The different kinds of products are being advertised. The different models have been advertised to showcase what? To showcase the different kinds of products for different kinds of people, different kinds of products and different brands which are there for different customer needs, which means there is something for everybody depending on their need. And therefore, the more you are making such relevant customer brand offerings, the more you are likely to have a greater value in market performance, which means the price that you can command, the price premium that you can command over others, any price elasticity, which means even if the prices are going to go up, they are not going to have any substantial reduction in the quantity purchased. However, there will be commodity items wherein, for example, if the prices go up, perhaps it will lead to a quantity decrease, but there could be staple products, for example, rice, wheat, and say potatoes and all of this, which people need on a staple food consumption basis. Even if the prices of those products are going up, quantity may not substantially come down in terms of purchases because people do need those products. That's why, there are essential items, there are staple items of products which are not very, very subject to the differences in the change in the price. So those can be price inelastic products, which means irrespective of the change in the price, that may not be translating into a substantial quantity change in the purchasing amount. So therefore, you need to look at, is there price inelasticity or price elasticity which plays a role in the market? You need to look at how much the market share can be gained because you have been able to influence the customers and the customer mindset, the attitudes. Are people buying so much that you become a market leader? Or maybe if not the market leader, are you second in the market? Who's the third player? Who's the fourth player? And so on and so forth. And therefore, you will be looking at the expansion success of anything, maybe the expansion of different products in a market or expansion of markets that the company is going to operate in. You will perhaps also be able to look at the cost structure that you're able to maintain, that you're able to contain in the company. And of course, not, it's an important thing, although it is not one of the only important thing, that is the profitability. So there is, of course, now it is the contemporary focus on triple bottom line, which means it is not only economic profit, but what amount of social influence or what amount of social contribution are you making, and what amount of contribution are you making to the environment. So ITC's triple bottom line still is the concept which is very valid for most of the companies across in the marketplaces in the world today. So of course, in the market performance, when people are buying the products, when customers are buying the products, that also leads to profitability calculations for the company pertaining to the cost that it has incurred in marketing program investment, other investments into the value chain activities, and finally, what amount of surplus do you carry back into the company for different quarters based on the investments that you make. And finally, that also will lead to, in case the company is publicly listed, it can lead to the input or impact on shareholder value, although that is not the only driving factor in a company's operation today. We talk about stakeholders and not only shareholder value. But of course, shareholder value is an integral component of stakeholder value. So what is a stakeholder value? You try to find out whether your stakeholders, people who have an interest in the successful running of the company, which could of course include not only customers, employees, vendors, suppliers, but also the public who have an interest in the successful functioning of the company. You try to find out how much of stakeholders value creation are you doing. Among this, one aspect is shareholder value. So definitely, if you're doing well in the market, or lots of products are getting sold, maybe you're the market leader or the second company in the market pertaining to your product, that would lead to enhancement in the stock price, very, very favorable investor sentiment being there towards the brand, the shares. So that would lead to the valuation of the shares going up vis-a-vis its original price. You could have favorable price equity ratio. You could have market capitalization, which goes up because the share values go up. So market capitalization, the concept that is the number of shares into the unit price of the share, would lead to market capitalization. But if investor sentiment is not very positive, then if people don't feel that the company has good prospects in the market, that could lead to a negative sentiment or a not so favorable sentiment, and that could also depreciate the market capitalization. So finally, what is the play, or what really influences between the market performance and the shareholder value? What really influences this is the market multiplier, which means the market dynamics, how you are able to handle the dynamics that is playing out in the market. That is why often it is said that market leaders define the market. Market leaders actually configure the market. For example, Hindustan Unilever has been one of the most successful, fast-moving consumer goods company in the country. Unilever also has been one of the most successful fast-moving consumer goods company across the world. Now they have been very influential and they have initiated many marketing activities which have impacted the type of the market performance, the market dynamics. For example, the introduction of sachet packaging by Hindustan Unilever was a kind of a game changer in the market, wherein you could look at bringing the affordability levels of the product in tune with what the customer requires. So you could bring down the packaging of the products, be it biscuits or shampoo or oil, bring it into lower priced packages and offer it for sale, especially in a country like India, where 70% of the people are in the rural areas and 30% of the people are in the urban areas. And therefore this urban rural divide has a lot of implications stemming out of the economic, socio-economic disparity. And therefore things like fast-moving consumer goods products which had to be sold in the market needed to be thought about in a very innovative manner in terms of the marketing mix. So market leaders think about the market dynamics, and they tune their offer in such a way that it can lead to growth. So they understand the growth potential and they gear up for the growth potential appropriately. They also understand the risks inherent in the business, and they therefore understand that the risk could lead to perhaps, if not catering to the perception of what could take place, which could erode the value of the brand over a period of time. If they do not take care of those things and there are not many preemptive actions which are taken, it could lead to a lesser brand contribution for them for themselves in the company as a corporate performance, and of course as leaders in the market. So what happens is you really need to understand, you need to sense the market, you need to feel the market, you should be having enough customer insights, and there should be people inside the company who should be able to take advantage of the challenges and opportunities prevailing in the market and ensure that you are able to make your offers tuned up in such a way that it leads to sales of the product. The other initiative of Unilever or Hindustan Unilever was the introduction of, for example, conditioners in the market, in addition to the shampoos that you know that they were very, very famous for. Now this introduction of this new category of conditioners. Previously, shampoos were thought of to be combined with conditioners in themselves. So therefore, usage of certain shampoos were distinguished from others in terms of using the shampoo, yet it will not cause very much of a dry or frizzy kind of a hair. Now, separately, Hindustan Unilever decided to bring up a new category of conditioners. So it was a new product introduction, basically looking at expanding the market. thinking that beauty care has evolved over a period of time, and it was now the time where Hindustan Unilever felt that conditioners could be introduced in the market. And then there were, of course, different kinds of initiatives in packaging which was involved, which had to be done because shampoos and conditioners, when ethnographic studies were done, it was found that you cannot perhaps have the same kind of packaging for both shampoo and conditioner, and people don't really will read each of the bottles. And when they keep these bottles in their bathroom for usage, they could easily get confused because the formulation of shampoo or the look of a shampoo and a conditioner could look the same. It could be white in color or pink in color, depending on the type of the brand the product formulation. So how does the customer take care of that? That's why in the packaging they introduced that upside down bottle, which means the shampoo would be in the normal bottles, and the conditioners typically were packaged initially with the entire bottle being in being able to be kept in an upside down manner. And there were, of course, sales promotional schemes that were introduced in order to make sure that the product or brand really gets sold. So with the shampoo, conditioners used to be clubbed together and it used to come free. So if you buy the product shampoo, you also get the product conditioner along with the shampoo, maybe free or maybe at a discounted cost. So these are different ways that the market leader thinks of introducing schemes in the market, products in the market, introducing innovations in packaging in order to expand the market and take advantage of the market dynamics. And that's what leads to the leadership position of the company in the market, and thereby gaining on the shareholder value. Correct? So these are the different ways that the brand value chain helps companies to look at the different types of initiatives, activities, tactics that have to be undertaken by a company for its brand in order to go from the stage of marketing program investment to building shareholder value. Clear? Any kind of doubt here? Let me just continue. And finally, these brand value chain will lead to many things, and the subsequent slides are there for explaining that aspect. Finally, what happens is you're really looking at building up a huge set of brands with different kinds of brand portfolio. And therefore, you will look at building the brand equity through different customer-based brand equity model. One of the aspects of building the customer-based brand equity, initiative would be to use the triangular scheme that was enunciated by Keller. And of course, you can have other approaches. For example, like Interbrand uses its own methods of, qualitatively and quantitatively estimating the brand value. You can also look at the fact that the brand value creation would come from different kinds of the offers of products and brands that the company has on offer. So which means what? Which means the company will have to think about how it can take on different kinds of products and brands in its company's portfolio in terms of different product lines and the different brands. So what did we see with Maruti Suzuki, for example? You found that there are different types of products having different types of brands. So you had a Maruti Suzuki driving school, you had Maruti Suzuki True Value, you had Nexa, you had the Arena. So you can have the brand product matrix charted out in order to see what are the products that you have on offer and what are the different brands that are there. So we saw that Maruti Suzuki driving school, the Maruti Suzuki, say the commercial or the financial schemes, they all had the prefix of Maruti Suzuki. But in the case of Nexa, it is a standalone brand. If you talk about the Arena, it was having different kinds of offers and it was being communicated with a celebrity endorsement, right? So you can have different type of brand name activities given in terms of the decision that the company takes for its branding strategy. Now, for example, Ford, you can see all of these brands. Tata, for example, has Tata Steel, Tata Motors, right? So what happens is Tata is a name that is prefixed before each of its brand. Supposing something like a food product, Tata Salt, you have a Tata name before that, right? So there can be different types of brand naming initiatives that can be used for ensuring that when you design the brand portfolio, you design the brand portfolio in such a way that you can maximize maximize the market coverage and you can minimize the brand overlap. So there can be different kinds of brands that can be there. You can have supporting brands, you can have brands which are actually giving you money, the cash cows leading to profits. You can have low-end entry-level brand, and of course you can have the high-end prestige brands like we saw in the case of Maruti Suzuki with its Nexa. So there can be different kinds of brand hierarchy, and this is how it is illustrated for Toyota. You can do it for any other brand. Even for brands that you have to develop, you can also understand that this is a concept which you can use, which will put forth before you in terms of an illustration about the different kinds of products and brands that you want to have in your company and what are the different variations. Right? So you can have brand hierarchy level in terms of a corporate brand, in terms of a family brand, individual brand, and any kind of modifier which shows whether it is a, for example, it is for automobiles given here. So the modifier could be if it is what should I say? It is a economy vehicle, or it is a high-end vehicle. Is it a medium-end vehicle? Is it a petrol variant? Is it a diesel variant? Is it a hybrid variant? All of that. So finally, all of these lead to the fact that there are certain ways by which you need to establish your brand architecture. You need to understand that there will be corporate brand campaigns. Corporate brand campaigns can range from the general campaigns that you're seeing in terms of television, electronic medium, or using it in print medium, hoardings, all of that. You can have cause marketing, saying that the proceeds of the marketing activities of a brand will go to support, say, orphanages, NGOs, or supporting certain ideologies. So what happens is, if the customers always feel good that they are contributing to a brand, and the proceeds of the brand will of course go for notable causes. Corporate social responsibility is one aspect of the entire company's offering. However, each brand can also ensure that they are tied up with good causes. Right? So many of these are cause marketing initiatives are done by companies like Procter & Gamble, Nestle, ITC, Hindustan Unilever, Walmart, Fortune Group of companies. All of these are doing a lot of cause marketing activities. Green marketing is a special kind of cause marketing, which is concerned with protection of the environment, especially with the focus on planet these days. What you've seen with Nike marketing and all. In Nike, for example, one of their important focus is on the planet. Right? So they focus on the product, of course, they focus on people, and of course they focus on planet. So focusing on planet, focusing on the environment, focusing on ensuring that the environment around the customer or where the company is operating is taken care of. These are all initiatives, making certain campuses carbon neutral, ensuring that you are not polluting the environment, ensuring protection of the ozone layer of the atmosphere. All of these are things which can be initiated, ensuring that the components used in products are not leading to harmful effects on the consumers. And of course, when these products are going to be made, the harmful chemicals that are used should not be so harmful that it leads to the depletion of natural resources, or perhaps the waste products when they are released out of the factories and the industries do not deplete the outside environment. So many of these factors can be highlighted. And of course, when brands meet with crisis, like for example, Cadbury met with the crisis when worms were discovered, or there was a deterioration in the product, then you saw how Amitabh Bachchan or how the entire company came forward and explained that they have changed the packaging so that the product deterioration need not happen. Or for example, the pesticide issue with Coca-Cola or with the carbonated beverage, and you saw how they actually came out to address that concern by making sure that celebrities like Amir Khan and Amitabh Bachchan were again pulled in, and they were shown to visit the factories to show that no pesticides or no harmful chemical was actually used in their products. Similarly, you had lots of other crises that have fallen to brands at different points of time. The Knorr, the soups and all this, they came under those kind of issues. Sometimes it is pertaining to licensing, not having the appropriate license to market, and it being sold. And there are lobbies which tend to propagate that perhaps it is not safe for the customer. So things like that which could affect customers' mindset, and it could pose to be a crisis period for the customer, for the brand, and the brand needs to take proactive efforts in order to preempt any kind of bad word of mouth to be building in the market, or to preempt any kind of lack of trust which starts building in the customer's mind towards the brand. So there are ways by which you need to manage the crisis, and the more innovative you are, the more better it is. Finally, it is also about the fact that every brand will have to take care of its marketing activities, tuning itself for the best kind of returns that it can yield on its marketing efforts, the best kind of effectiveness in terms of reaching the customer and meeting its objective of building awareness and making the brand strong, favorable, and unique. Right? So this is where we close the class, and we have actually ensured that we have covered the entire portion. So I will just show you the syllabus as well. So we have completed, like we said yesterday, with the entire module 3 and 4, which I have covered. Examination will be on all the 4 modules. Let me just share the screen. So advertising and integrated marketing communication 20 MBA M004, comprising of these modules, come to an end today. And we have made sure that all the materials are there on the LMS. Module 3 and 4, which I've covered extensively, has a lot of the references in the LMS as well. Professor Rajan also has put his inputs and his references as well in the website, in the LMS as well. Please have a look at that. And these are the aspects that has been covered. And we hope that you will also look at the references. I'm just quickly sharing the references that have been put up on the LMS for you to view. Make sure that you visit as many as possible and all of it as possible during your preparation, because it will help you to get in touch with the concept. So that is why the class PPTs are there. So session 1 to 10 is already loaded by Professor Rajan. Module 3 and 4, I have exhaustively put it in that entire file. So entire content is there in the LMS, as you see on the screen. And of course, there are URLs which I've put across for different case studies, videos from Kevin Lane Keller talking about all these branding concepts and the execution, whatever is there in the PPT, plus the video, YouTube video, like I have talked about earlier. Please go through that. Then there are, of course, brands versus products. Again, a YouTube video. Please have a look at that. There are case studies from Indian Brand Equity Foundation. A lot of examples of brands and their workings. So Indian Brand Equity Foundation is a Government of India undertaking which encapsulates all the initiatives that are done by the branding by all the companies in different sectors, and out of which branding is one aspect. And I've pulled out all the case studies and we have discussed some of them, and they are there with the website address for you to check. Trends from IBEF research is also put up. Please have a look at that. So what are the different trends that are there? Professor Kevin Lane Keller, once again on brand value and marketing, another separate YouTube video. Then there is something on Unilever value chain. So all of these that I've been talking about is also there. Branding basics, there are certain notes wise and all that, which I've put out there. Then of course, McKinsey, how the digital age is disrupting the marketing framework, a contemporary reading for all of you, which will help you to enhance the quality of the answers, which we have discussed, is also out there. The examples of all these cases that we've discussed: HDFC Bank, Maruti Suzuki, Dell, Samsung brand identity. What is brand identity and its execution is also given there. Hyundai as a brand and its activities are there. Then there are certain snippets and clips of news articles pertaining to the contemporary developments in the branding space. And that is from ET, Economic Times, Business of Brands, Brand Management, and there is a YouTube video as well. And of course, I've put up, Professor Rajan has put up a test bank for AIMC, and I've also put out a Word file with a lot of questions on brand management, which you can also see and refer. There are suggested readings for the brand management portion, which I've also uploaded under the suggested readings. Module 3, brands and brand management, emotional connect and how the human touch cannot be underestimated. So inputs about contemporary thinking, about branding, please have a look at that and see how you can get yourself, number one, updated and how you think this can be utilized elsewhere. Impact of 5G on digital advertising, a very contemporary topic. Apple's electric cars being one of the heavily debated topic these days, and that's something that's going to be part of your reality. So have a look at that and you can discover and you can think of ways of branding for that. Very, very contemporary topic. Apple's electric car, that is one of the news articles. And ET brand equity updates are there. A lot of updates which I've provided all of you, which we've discussed in very many classes as well. Indian industry reports, various industry reports from IBEF. So these are just not any Google picked up items. These are absolutely items which I've picked up for all of you, which are very, very authentic, very, very contemporarily relevant from very reliable industry sources, most credible sources, and which will give you a view of the domestic and the global branding views. Branding lessons from superheroes, the characters that we were talking, secondary brand associations, have a look at that. World weighs laws to rein in mighty algorithms. So the impact of AI and computational, computing on advertising and marketing communication. Why should brands have all the fun is another article, very interesting read. Impact created by Indian brands in international market, Fortune 500 list of companies, why Facebook, the development of Facebook's name change to Meta, the tech giants, all of these. So from Facebook, when it is changed to Meta, so what happens? So get yourself accustomed to all of these. Facebook rebrands, the rebranding effort is given here. Then the different new companies which are coming up, which we have discussed, but not exhaustively because it's outside the syllabus, but yet you need to know about the different upcoming brands. So 40 under 40, people who are under 40 who are actually, heading some of these companies. Fortune India 500 list of companies. Fortune India 40 under 40, the digital rediscovery of India, and Amazon, Asian Paints and Tata Tea, how they are some of the most purposeful brands. All right, look at the ebooks as well that I've provided on IDA, Dagmar, and some of the brands in the international market. Please have a look at all of these. There are some of the case studies again, whose copies I've pasted here, which is India's Toy Story, Byju's, Zomato, NetMed, all of these, and the different Indian brands. All right, so have a good learning, and if there's anything, please come back to me on the LMS as well. Thank you so much for joining on time. I wish all of you all the best for your exams, and I do hope that yesterday's session on the preparation tips for exams will help you. All materials are there on the website, on the LMS website. Thank you so much. All the best. Take care, and we'll meet soon.